Well, it has been another rough month for our country and around the world. We were dealing with natural disasters, violence, systemic racism. We anticipate terrible suffering with the cruel cuts to our federal budget. Things are just a swirling mess. So I wonder if it isn't time to take a breather and to get some perspective and to focus on some positive feelings. After all, Emma Goldman said, "If I can't dance, I don't want to be part of your revolution." Just like the Ed in the Mary Poppins crowd, I love to laugh. I think I got it from my father. He loved humor, and he could be a clown. I know he was funny, but starting at about middle school, I was often embarrassed by his antics. He would drop his full set of false teeth and make funny faces. You never knew what he would do next. And the unexpected is often what makes things funny. Actually, my earliest memory about laughter was in the 4th grade when I got in trouble with Mrs. Jensen. I had a crush on a freckled-faced boy named Doug, and anything he did made me laugh. Mrs. Jensen made me write 100 times, "I will not giggle in class." I'm pretty sure this did not cure me of giggling. I certainly hope not. Then there were those times in early adolescence when it didn't matter what was going on. If my friend and I caught each other's eyes, we would start laughing uncontrollably. I remember sitting at the dinner table with her parents. They were Swiss, very serious people, and my friend and I just could not stop laughing. I'm not sure I made the best impression. But then the 60s happened, and sadly my brother died in Vietnam, whom I've told you about that story a few times. And I guess the laughter stopped for a while. I started taking life and religion much more seriously. I entered a period of teenage and young adult angst. I may have had my reasons, but I also know that that's just what young adults do. For a time, everything was a matter of life and death. I can still fall into that frame of mind. Researchers tell us that the average child laughs 400 times a day. The average adult? What do you think? 18. Of course, if you know me, you know that I have a sense of humor. It can often be offbeat. And the fact is that I'm kind of careful with people until I get to know them well enough to be sure that they'll get my sense of humor. Then I can relax and have fun with language or banter about culture and politics. I love Jon Stewart for his hard-hitting political wit, George Carlin for his wordplay, Lily Tomlin for her characters, Richard Pryor for his honesty on race relations and his ability to make incisive fun of hurtful situations. And these days, it's more Trevor Noah and Josh Johnson. But then there's the classic Groucho Marx, who famously said, "Time flies like an arrow. Fruit flies like a banana." There are so many reasons to laugh. It's been known for ages that laughter is good for the soul. Norman Cousins, diagnosed with ankylosing spondylitis, which is a very serious condition, documented in his book, Anatomy of an Illness, laughter's vital and remarkable role in health and healing. Humor also keeps the political system in some semblance of balance. I personally find Jimmy Kimmel and Stephen Colbert Both offer a respite from the daily grind. What do you think? Could a little humor help us overcome some of the drama and upheaval so widespread in our country these days? It helps me to think about what the Dalai Lama said about humor. He said, "I have been confronted with many difficulties throughout the course of my life, but I laugh often. My laughter is contagious. When people ask me how I find the strength to laugh now, I reply, I am a professional laugher." I think when we're young, we see the humor in life itself. For example, just think about a giraffe for a moment. And sources of humor are all around us. Puppies and kittens make us laugh, whether they're rolling all over each other or acting ancestral behaviors of stalking and hunting. And that's why those kitten videos go viral. We adults need a laughter prompt. Groucho Marx included some animals in his humor. He said, "Outside of a dog, a book is a man's best friend. Inside of a dog, it's too hard to read." He also said, "One morning, I shot an elephant in my pajamas. How he got into my pajamas, I'll never know." No matter how many times my husband hears these jokes, it still breaks him up. Humor can also teach us important life lessons. Harry Potter, the spell that transforms a terrifying Bogart into a figure of fun, is ridiculous. Bogarts feed on fear and are defeated by laughter. So the spellcaster's task is to make the Bogart laughable. The message is that humor and laughter can overcome our fears. For example, Harry's friend Ron Weasley's greatest fear is spiders. Using the ridiculous spell, he puts roller skates on all 8 of a huge spider's legs, causing himself and everyone around him to laugh. I wonder if there is some way that we can use this spell on the things that we most fear. Wait, I just had an image of that thing in my grandmother's house dress and 1950s curlers. As always, Groucho offers a relevant comment. Politics, he said, is the art of looking for trouble everywhere, finding it everywhere, diagnosing it incorrectly, and applying the wrong remedies. Talk about life lessons. What does our sense of humor tell us about ourselves? Remember that Goethe quote, "Nothing shows one's character more than what he or she laughs at." And that makes me wonder what Goethe would think about me, because I'll admit that I have a guilty pleasure. America's Funniest Home Videos. I thought I was more sophisticated than that. Come on. I mean, I never liked gag jokes. I never cared for the Three Stooges, but now I break up at people who devise crazy contraptions, try to leap over them, and trip and fall and crash just shy of personal injury. Boy, does that make me laugh. But I don't know what it says about me. Thankfully, humor can also be a lot more life-affirming, playfully breaking down social norms while encouraging us to interact and form community connections. This is a picture this, that I found on a YouTube video. So you have to use your imagination. A smiling man gets onto a New York City subway car full of tired, disconnected people just trying to get home after a long day. He starts to laugh. People fidget and look at each other uncomfortably. He continues. They get somewhat annoyed. He begins to guffaw, and he is unable to hold back. Some people hide their smiles. He continues. One person starts laughing, and then another person, and pretty soon the entire car is laughing out loud. As one person's laughter dies down, they are triggered again by the guffaws, titters, and snorts of the other people in the car. This shows me that we really can share and spread good feelings. I remind you of Kenny Ausubel's quote that we used for our chalice lighting. Ausubel, founder of an organization called Seeds of Change and co-founder of Bioneers, says each of us has a spark of life inside of us, and our highest endeavor ought to be to set off that spark in one another. One group that's determined to set off sparks has developed an idea called fun theory. They say you can change people's behavior by making it fun to do things that people are pretty unconscious about, like putting trash in a garbage can. So the fun theory people devised what they call the world's deepest trash can. Whenever you put something in the can, it makes a whistling sound like it's going down a mine shaft. They have a recycling bin that lights up like an arcade game and gives you points. But they may be best known for creating a staircase right next to an escalator that's outfitted as piano keys. When you walk on the steps, you make music. These steps increase the use of the stairs by more than 60% because people were having so much fun playing with the sounds, not caring that they were playing in public, not worrying that they might look foolish. I love the fact that some folks don't care if they look foolish, that some are willing to believe laughter helps us become more human and humane. They have a mission, and it is holy work, because they know that fear keeps us isolated, and laughter breaks through that isolation to create community. And connection is so important. It's one reason we come to church, isn't it? Do you know that there is a UU organization in San Francisco called Faithful Fools? They have a street ministry that meets hungry and homeless people where they are and promotes their inherent worthiness and dignity. Boy, does that look foolish to the people who value only wealth and power. Yet undaunted by such standards, Faithful Fools is dedicated to uncovering our common humanity and helping lead us all to health and wholeness. Then there's another man named Charlie Todd who moved to New York to become an actor, but started doing improv events all over the city. His intent? To cause a scene. One of his more famous scenes had actors dressed as Ghostbusters running through the New York Public Library. He's organized surprise public performances in Grand Central Station, also known as flash mobs, involving dozens of people. Then there is the annual No Pants subway ride, where men, otherwise dressed respectably, get on the subway in their boxer shorts. That was done for more than 10 years before the pandemic interrupted it, though there is still a no trousers tube ride in London. Todd's organization is called Improv Everywhere. And if you want to try it yourself, he's written a how-to book called Causing a Scene. Because of course, we all do sometimes cause a scene, even if we don't want to. And we sometimes can look foolish or be foolish, even when we're not trying to be. Who isn't or hasn't been? The trick is to allow ourselves to laugh, to recognize the humor in our lives, and enjoy the releasing laughter in others. I'm sure most of us spend time graciously laughing at each other's attempts at humor, but here's the thing. Our bodies don't care if we're really laughing or just faking it. As Norman Cousins discovered, laughter is good medicine. It's not just for our bodies, but also for our spirits. And yet sometimes we try to keep from laughing. Why do we do that? What makes us strive to be so serious? I think we need to hide our vulnerability. Unlike the faithful fools or Charlie Todd, we don't want to risk being the fool. We want to look like we've got things under control. And yet it can be such a very thin facade. With just a little encouragement, it can vanish like flash paper. The truth is, when our control disappears, like the illusion that it is, we actually become happier. However, that need for control can quickly come back unless we get, just a little bit of support. And all that takes is a willingness to share in the enjoyment of life a little more. So, there were these three clergy sitting around and talking as ministers will. They were talking and discussing death. One of them asked, "If you were in your casket and friends and family were gathered round, what would you like to hear them say?" The Baptist preacher said, "I would like to hear them say that I was a fine spiritual leader and took great care of my congregation." The Catholic priest said, "I would like to hear that I was a wonderful teacher and a servant of God who made a huge difference in people's lives." The Unitarian Universalist minister said, "I'd like to hear them say, 'Look, he's moving.'" Well, I'm happy to say everyone here is still moving. And I wonder if we can't take advantage of our energy and our abilities by using our imaginations and our sense of fun. Maybe we can take another look at the times we're in and at our problems and our challenges. And instead of looking at them grimly, maybe we can try approaching them with creativity, plainness, and humor. When things appear absurd, as they often do, maybe we should try meeting them on their own terms with a dash of absurdity. There's no point in letting everything get us down. Honestly, there's actually no point in believing that we can somehow control everything that the world throws at us. I mean, just think about it. Do you think anyone 10,000 years ago could have controlled the agricultural revolution? Or 250 years ago, the Industrial Revolution? Those were not controlled by individuals, even though individuals may have tried. Those disruptions were driven by powerful forces that were underlying the society, much greater than any single person. So why do some of us think that we can control this period of rapid change that we are currently in? I'm increasingly inclined to believe it's foolish to try to control the world. But what if instead we did our part for its transformation? How exactly would we do that? Well, there are too many possibilities to count, but here's a thought. What if instead of being earnest and somber about the state of the world, we could find ways to keep our hearts just a little bit lighter? Do you think that might help restore us, help keep us afloat during these turbulent times? I do. I propose that we find ways to cause a scene by being faithful fools and semi-professional laughers. Let's do what we can to light the spark in each other. Let us help each other grow cheerfully into our own power. And then let's find ways to give that hope to others and see if we can indeed help to transform our world and have some fun while doing it.